Hello, my name is Blossoms and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. And today we're going to be going over an update on my Sucrose build. Last time we left off with Sucrose, I had a 4-star artifact set on her, as well as a different weapon, and I want to go over the differences in my build now from then, and show you why I think building her this way is going to be better than building her the previous way I had her. But before we actually hop into the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It helps support the channel and the video, and I really appreciate the support. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and show off my new Sucrose build. So we'll go ahead and start off with the fact that I've gotten her at C6. I got really lucky on the albedo banner, and I got a lot of Sucroses, so now I have her at C6, which is upping my talents significantly more than previously, and does really help out our DPS with the 6th one here, Chaotic Entropy. If Forbidden Creation Isomer 75 Type 2 triggers all elemental absorption, all party members gain a 20% elemental damage bonus for the corresponding absorbed element during its duration. And that's going to be really improving your DPS. However, I really don't think that changes your build too much, and we'll go over why in just a second. I'd say the most important constellation here is still the C1. Gaining that additional charge is extremely valuable. As for Sucrose's artifacts, you'll note I'm still on the Viridescent Venerer set. The 4-piece here is definitely the best in slot for her. I really don't think any other artifact set for Sucrose is going to benefit you that much. The increase in swirl damage is incredible, and the decrease for the elemental resistance to the element is just insane. It's always going to be insane, and I really couldn't recommend it any other way. And you'll notice here, I do have a really good Flower and Feather with crit rate and crit damage substats, as well as an elemental mastery substat, and, you know, some energy recharge and attack percent. And that's going to be what you're going to want to focus on for Sucrose. You're going to want to focus on attack percent, energy recharge, crit rate, and crit damage, as well as elemental mastery substats. You're going to want a good mix of all of those. As for my main stats for the other 3 artifacts, I'm using Elemental Mastery, a Nemo damage bonus, and crit rate, and you might be going, whoa, Elemental Mastery as a main stat? Yes, this is actually better than attack percent. I've been messing around with the 2, and I also have a little bit better substats on this one, so that's pretty nice as well. But the Elemental Mastery here is going to be pretty much the same as the attack percent. We'll go over why later. I'll show some numbers with the 2 different artifacts on, and give my reasons for why I think Elemental Mastery is better in general. The primary reason I think the Elemental Mastery is better is the fact that this Molus Favonius passive talent is there. Anytime you hit an enemy with her E or Q, all party members are going to be gaining an Elemental Mastery bonus based on 20% of her Elemental Mastery, and that really does add up once you start to stack her Elemental Mastery, and that's going to be making your reactions do a lot more damage. And then also the fact that she gives Elemental Mastery for getting swirl reactions, a flat 50 to the corresponding element, is also huge. So you're going to be giving huge amounts of Elemental Mastery, and if you really build into that Elemental Mastery, you're probably going to be bestowing around 200, which does really up your damage. As for weapons for Sucrose, I have moved on to the Sacrificial Fragments from the Map of Mare. The Map of Mare is still a great option, however, its Elemental Mastery bonus is significantly less, almost half of Sacrificial Fragments, which is insane. However, the base attack is significantly higher, and that is the trade-off here. The passive here is also very strong, so really either one is really good. The passive here is also really good, giving you an extra charge. Sometimes you get to use her E 3 times, and that's pretty nice as well. It's really going to be up to what you have. The Map of Mare, of course, being craftable, does gain an advantage there, making it easier to get the refinement ranks here. However, the Sacrificial Fragments is just probably a better option overall, as that Elemental Mastery does really matter. As for the stats here for Sucrose, you'll notice my attack is really low, but my Elemental Mastery is 428. I do want to get higher. I have seen somebody with 900 Elemental Mastery, which is absolutely insane, and it does get really out of hand with that much Elemental Mastery. But the attack actually doesn't matter that much. When I put on the attack percent artifact, it only brings it up to around 1100. And that really isn't that great. My crit rate and crit damage are also very okay. Obviously, I would like a lot more crit damage, but my crit rate is really solid. And the energy recharge here, only being 122%, isn't that great either. My substats really aren't that good on my other 3 artifacts. My Flower and Feather are really the only ones with decent substats. Now, I also only have 65% in Nemo damage bonus, and that does go up as you ascend her, as that is her hidden ascension bonus. So yeah, now that we've gone over the updates, pretty much the only difference here is the fact that I just have a Elemental Mastery Sands rather than an attack percent Sands, and it's definitely more valuable. I'm even considering dropping my Circlet to an Elemental Mastery bonus once I get a Viridescent Circlet with Elemental Mastery bonus. I think I actually might go that route. I'll have to see and test that out in the future, but for now, crit rate is definitely going to be the route for me. But I'm saying the Elemental Mastery is actually that worth it, and we're going to go over why in just a second. Alright, so first we're going to be popping into this domain here with the Elemental Mastery Sands, and then we'll compare it to the attack percent Sands after this. So first off, we're going to test it out. Just her normal damage does about 2k there, and then like 3,700 on a crit, which is very okay stuff. I'm not going to sit here and say that's going to be amazing. So let's go ahead and get her E back here. Get an element on these guys, and you'll notice I'm doing 1,500 on the extra damage there, on the swirl damage, which is quite significant. And then you'll see there, it really starts to get out of hand right here. I basically just threw down her Q, and it's dealing about 1,200, 1,500 different amounts of pyro damage, and that really does matter. And you'll notice, like, my Elemental Mastery here is really getting out of hand with my other characters, getting much higher than it was previously. 162 here, 173 here, and we'll go ahead and let those bonuses wear off so you guys can actually see the difference in their Elemental Mastery. So previously, yeah, Bennett was at 37 Elemental Mastery, so you can see the difference there, and 77 here. You can see the difference there is quite significant. Bennett did get a higher Elemental Mastery bonus because we used the Q on while it was Pyro, which, you know, gives a higher amount of Elemental Mastery because of her Constellation 6. Alright, so popping into the same domain, but with the attack percent Sands, you'll see 2,700 there, a little bit more damage. And we'll try to get a crit here on the E as well, so you guys can see the difference in that damage. If I can get it to happen, that would be great. You see 4,300 there, pretty darn solid. And we'll get an element on these guys, and we will get, see how much that does. 4,300 right there, but you'll notice the swirl damage is a little bit less. And you see that they kind of even out in that regard. We'll also get the Q going here. You see the Q damage on the Anemo aspect is a little bit higher, but the swirl damage is a little bit less as well, and that is your trade-off here, is that pretty much the damage you gain by using attack percent here, you're trading off in the swirl damage, and also the Elemental Mastery bonus. You'll see Bennett here does have less Elemental Mastery than previously, as well as Tartaglia, and that is definitely the trade-off you're going to be doing here with the attack percent Sucrose. Yes, her Nemo damage will be higher, but your elemental reaction damage will be a little bit lower, and since you're mainly going to be using her as a debuff character, if you're using her as a DPS support, then you're going to want the Elemental Mastery here. It's just going to be that much better. Also, I realized I forgot to show off the actual attack gain. We gained about 300 attack using the attack sands here, and I just kind of forgot to mention that. And also our Elemental Mastery was at 296. Just wanted to note that for you guys, so you guys actually got to see the stat differences. I forgot to mention that before we went into the actual domain. So yeah, that's going to be it for the update on the Sucrose build, and hopefully you can see the advantages to going Elemental Mastery over attack percent. However, you really don't lose too much, so if you just can't get an Elemental Mastery Sands, don't worry about it. Attack percent will do you fine, but I do recommend trying to get as much Elemental Mastery on her as possible, as the bonuses you give to your teammates just get significantly higher, and the swirl damage just gets significantly higher as well, which makes her DPS not really fall off by going Elemental Mastery. In fact, it actually does get a little bit better once you get ludicrous amounts of Elemental Mastery. There is a video on that. I will actually leave that video in the description below. There's somebody who had like a 900 Elemental Mastery Sucrose, and they compared it to the attack percent and the DPS version of Sucrose. And I'll go ahead and drop that below so you guys can actually get a little bit more insight onto that. But that's going to be it for the actual build video. I hope you guys enjoyed the update here and the differences to my previous Sucrose build video, and I hope it really helped you guys out. Anyway, my name is Blossoms, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.